Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, Sam F. Davis Stakes Day at Tampa Bay on Saturday, but several other good graded stakes races, including race number 11, the Grade 3 Tampa Bay Stakes. Our coverage is presented by DRF Bets. When you sign up for a new DRF Bets account, you access a $200 free bet. Go to drf.com/join. Use the promo code FREEBET09. And remember, no deposit required. Let's take a look at this field of turf runners going a mile and a 16th. The champ is back. That is World Approval, winner of the Breeders' Cup Mile. 2 to 5 on the morning line for John Velazquez and Mark Cassian. Listen, this horse has always been solid. Yep. He was a Grade 1 stakes winner going 11 furlongs in 2016. Yep. But Cassie and company found the magic formula when they turned this horse back to middle distances with 3 brilliant efforts in the 4-star Dave Woodbine Mile, Breeders' Cup Mile. Why am I supposed to bet against this horse? Yeah,
I can't really think of any reason to bet against him. I mean, this feels like he has it all over this field as he starts back off the layoff. And yeah, you know, a horse is going to be 2 to 5 on the morning line. You know, sometimes you want to be a little careful with them as they just start back off the layoff. But just look at what this horse has done off of layoffs in the past, especially the last 2 years when they came back. And, you know, it was sort of similar to this, not quite this in a Grade 3 race, but they came back in softer spots for this horse. And he was just super sharp in both of his races off the layoff in 2016 and off the layoff last year. Super sharp both times.
Yeah, 3-month layoff here for World Approval. He is prepping for a start in Dubai, but boy, if he runs his usual race, he's going to be tough. Let's talk about the Breeders' Cup Mile. Has not come back very strong. On paper, maybe not the most stellar Breeders' Cup Mile we ever saw, and it was more of a workman-like grinding performance than anything brilliant from World Approval. Is maybe that a reason to worry?
I don't see why. I mean, I hear what you're saying about his Breeders' Cup. He got a really good trip in that race, and it's not like it was the strongest Breeders' Cup Mile we've ever seen, but he just, you know, it was just another performance for this horse that looked a lot like his prior 2 Grade 1 wins at a mile. He gets the right trips in his races, and he finishes in the stretch. And listen, he's just better than these horses if he shows up with anything close to his good race.
He likes to be close to the pace. Timeform US has their pace projector out for the Tampa Bay Stakes. We're expecting a good, solid pace. They're expecting World Approval up front. I don't think that's where John Velazquez wants him. I think John Velazquez will allow the 5 Western Reserve to make the front, sit second in the catbird seat.
I agree with that. And it's nice to be Johnny V in this situation because he's got options. This horse, he's fine if you want to put him up on the front, but he does not need the lead to be effective.
Let's talk about Western Reserve. They put blinkers on last time out. Perhaps he was a little bit more keyed up. I still think that the old Western Reserve would have won that race. He was outfinished by Dr. Mounty, who we would have gotten, who we'll get to in a moment. 2 starts back in the tropical turf. Maybe Paco Lopez conceded the lead a little bit too soon, but they're going 49-3. He's got to finish better than next to last.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really want to give him any kind of real excuse for that race. And last time, I mean, how did he not win last time? That was a pretty disappointing loss for this horse.
As for Dr. Mounty, this is a horse that I think is kind of underachieved, but maybe he's a typical Shug McGahee type where they get older, they improve. He got the job done over Western Reserve last time out, switching back to turf. He is a horse that can work out a really nice trip, similar to the trip Inspector Lindley got, I think, in winning this race last year. I think Guy can save ground. He just doesn't have that fast race.
Yeah, he really doesn't, and he's just, you know, we'll see what happens with him ultimately. Maybe you're right that Shug will keep improving him, but he doesn't, at least up to this point, he hasn't shown himself to be a real stakes quality horse. He's going to have to improve to win this.
Fire Away earned a big fig in the Artie Schiller last time out, going a mile at Aqueduct. He also got a brilliant ride by John Velazquez that day. Here's another example of a Shug horse getting better and stronger as he ages. I'm not sure he's as good as that 102 buyer, but he's trending the right way.
Yeah, he is. He really has improved. It was nice to see him at the end of last year too sort of turn back and be effective, because he had seemed like a horse who wanted to go a little bit longer than that. They cut him back to a mile at the end of the year. It felt like he needed that first time, the first run when they cut him back to the mile in October at Belmont. He needed that race. He wasn't quite as sharp. He was a lot sharper last time, perfect trip or not. He was a good winner of that race.
Formulator fact for the 2, Noble Thought. Trainer Malcolm Pierce over the past 4 years with older horses making their first start off a layoff of 45 days or greater in graded stake turf routes. Good numbers, 27%, 317 ROI. This horse ran a good race at Woodbine, going long at a mile and 3/8. A mile and a 16th, kind of short, I think, for this horse, although he has run well at Tampa in the past.
Yeah, he has. We'll see if he can sort of take a step forward in there. He acquitted himself pretty well in some tougher races at Woodbine. last summer, but he's probably going to have to run better than that in the face of a horse like World Approval. We'll see if he can do it.
Forge ran a big buyer for Bill Mott 2 starts back, but it was over yielding ground in the Bernard Baruch. In that race, he was just chasing heart to heart. He's not going to get to that kind of horse. Not sure what happened in the Knickerbocker when he was the beaten favorite. Guessing something physically might have happened to him. We haven't seen him in several months. I think on his best day, we've seen Forge run some fast races.
Absolutely.
Not the kind of races that's going to take down the champ, but a race that puts him on the board.
I agree with that. I mean, you hate to see a horse go to the sidelines off of a race like his Knickerbocker, because I think you're right. Something just had to go wrong with him in that race. Prior to that one, he had run well in all of his starts in North America, not in necessarily in graded stakes races. Although his Bernard Baruch was a pretty good performance where Heart to Heart just wired that field. I liked that effort from this horse. I think he's the biggest threat to World Approval in this race. We'll just see how he comes back off the layoff.
Tacit is a horse I know you've always had a little bit of a thing for, especially after his allowance win at Keeneland way back in April, but his layoffs have been his worst enemy. Last time out, he came from off of a solid pace to beat One Go All Go, who's in the stake at Gulfstream. Here's a formulator fact from Michael Matz concerning Tacit. Past 4 years older, last out winners, making the second start of the form cycle in turf routes. Good numbers, 33%, 428. Get the feeling he's a nice horse. He's going to make a late run. He may need a pace meltdown.
Yeah, if he gets the big fast pace that the pace projector is predicting for this race, it will help him because he doesn't want to sit it out and make one big run. He made that last time. He had a legit pace to close into, but he had a lot of ground to cover from the top of the stretch to the wire, and he covered it. I don't know that I'm, still a believer in him as far as graded stakes races go, but he's got some ability.
Brass Compass was claimed over the summer by Reed Baker. Got a win 2 starts back sprinting over the synthetic surface. Is going to have to improve.
Yeah, he is. He's just a horse who never really panned out. He had some early potential. I don't know if he ever really delivered on it, and I didn't like his last race that much.
And needless to say, tough spot for the 4 Cheyenne's Colonel, eligible for non-winners of 2 life, coming into an 8-month layoff.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with him. I mean, he's not a made horse yet, so he's the kind of horse I think you want to be open to down the line, but not in a race like this.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Tampa Bay. I hate to pick the favorite, but World Approval just looks like he kind of lays over this field, and if he fires his best shot, he's going to win. How do you bet the race? I guess you're kind of singling in multiple race wagers. Do you try to play exactors or tries?
Yeah, I don't think I would try and beat him in multi-race wagers. I think I would just sort of let all my eggs fall in his basket. He just looks too good for these horses. If I was going to use anybody else, just be the logical horses. Fire Away, maybe a little Forge.
I'm going to go 7, 3, and 5. Liked what I've seen from Fire Away recently, but he might be the second choice in this race. Really nice edition of the Grade 3 Tampa Bay Stakes. And again, if you're playing from home, DRF Bets is where you need to be because you access a $200 free bet, no deposit required at drf.com/join when you use the promo code FREEBET09. Approximate post time for World Approval in the Grade 3 Tampa Bay Stakes, 5:25 Eastern. Good luck.